This ain't no streets. At this point, this ain't about the streets. Cause at this point, we just trolling.
After 50 Cent posted that picture of Tiny, nobody expected it to go this far. But within hours, King Harris did something that instantly changed the temperature. He didn't just respond in the comments, he found 50 Cent's mother's grave, posted it, and told him to dig her up. And that's when this stopped being internet trolling. It started when 50 Cent jumped on Instagram and dropped a photo of Tiny Harris performing on stage. Not a flattering one. The angle was off. The lighting was harsh. On it looked like the kind of picture you choose on purpose if you're trying to make somebody look bad. And he didn't put it on his story where it disappears. He put it on his main feed. Permanent. The caption was short, but it was direct.
So tell your dead mama dig her ass up and post a picture that look better than my mama. What's wrong with you?
Tiny hadn't said anything about 50. She wasn't on a podcast mentioning him. She wasn't in his comments. This was about T.I. and the ongoing tension over that Verzuz situation. But instead of keeping it between him and T.I., 50 went at his wife. And that's what set everything off. King Harris saw that post, and instead of playing it cool or throwing a subliminal back, he went straight for the jugular. He jumped in the comments under 50's post and left a short message that hit way harder than it looked.
Post my mama like your mama ain't dead as Go put some flowers on that grave.
Now, if you know anything about 50 Cent's story, you already know why that line landed heavy. His mother, Sabrina Jackson, was murdered when he was just 8 years old. That's not a rumor. That's something he's talked about publicly for years. But King didn't stop at a comment. He went to his own Instagram and posted a photo of Sabrina Jackson's actual headstone. Name, birth year, death year, all of it. And he tagged 50 directly. Then he turned his phone on and went live. No script, no filter, just pure anger.
Your mama, go dig her up. Go dig her up. Post a picture of your mama. She pay respect. Stop playing with my mama. Ain't playing like that. It ain't going like that. Know how y'all bitch ass raised? I'm not raised like that. I don't go. I'm not going about my mama. I'm not going. So tell your ass mama dig her ass up and post a picture that look better than my mama. What's wrong with you? Y'all better tie y'all.
He kept repeating it, telling 50 to go dig her up, telling him to post a better picture of his own mother. At that point, the line had been crossed. This wasn't rap beef. This wasn't trolling. This was personal. In one night, Chariot went from a petty Instagram jab to one of the most disrespectful moves hip-hop has seen in a minute. Because there are rules in this culture, you can call somebody out. You can question their credibility. You can even clown their music. But bringing up a dead parent, that hits different. And here's the wild part. None of this even started over family. It started over music. For weeks, there had been tension building between 50 Cent and T.I. over a Verzuz battle that never happened. Interviews, podcast comments, subliminal posts, it was already bubbling. But it was still about catalogs, about respect, about who had the better run. Then 50 posted Tiny, and instead of responding to 50 as an artist, King responded as a son. He saw a grown man with 30 million followers put his mother on blast and something snapped, but the way he chose to hit back didn't just escalate the situation, it detonated it. Because once that grave photo went up, there was no going back. Now the question wasn't who has the better catalog, it was whether 50 Cent was going to respond to someone telling him to dig up his dead mother. The crazy part is this didn't just come out of nowhere. That post about Tiny was fuel on a fire that had already been burning for weeks. Before King ever typed "where your mama at," there was tension between 50 Cent and T.I. over a Verzuz battle that fans had been asking for. On paper, it made sense. Two southern heavyweights, two catalogs full of hits, it should have been about celebration. According to T.I., it almost happened. He later went on a podcast and explained that the two of them had actually talked about it face to face while they were both in Los Angeles working on TV and film projects. And from his side, it wasn't random. It was a plan.
I said I wanted 50. That's what I said. He don't want no smoke though.
T.I. said the idea was simple. He would publicly call 50 out first. Then 50 would respond, co-sign it, and they'd line it up properly. Clean execution, no mess.
When I jump out there, he act like he ain't know what going on.
But once T.I. went public and mentioned 50's name, he claims 50 acted like the conversation never happened. like they never discussed it at all. That's when it stopped being about music for T.
Oh, look, I don't even want to, man. Cause now I question your character.
From T.I.'s perspective, it wasn't about ducking a battle, it was about integrity. If you don't want to do it, just say that. But don't agree in private and then switch up when cameras are on the other side. Akir, 50 never seemed interested in Versus to begin with. He had been publicly dismissing the idea for years, calling it something that only made sense during the pandemic. He's been focused on TV shows, films, business ventures. Music hasn't been his priority for a long time. So when T.I. started pushing the Versus conversation publicly, 50 responded the way he usually does, with trolling. Instead of a serious response, he kept posting short captions, memes, shrug emojis, in the same line over and over. It wasn't aggressive, it was dismissive. And that kind of energy can sometimes hit harder than direct insults. It makes the other person look like they're begging for attention. Then it got even uglier. At one point, 50 started implying things in the comments, throwing around accusations that in street culture carry serious weight. T.I. immediately fired back in the comments. I'm basically telling him to either step in the ring or stop talking. By the time February 22nd came around, this wasn't new tension. It had been building through interviews, comment sections, and subtle jabs. The difference is, up until that tiny post, it stayed between two artists. T.I. kept it about music, about who had the stronger catalog, about who would win a Versus. 50 shifted it to family, and once family gets involved, logic leaves the room. Because from King Harris' point of view, this wasn't about a business disagreement. It wasn't about a missed Versus opportunity. It was about watching a grown man publicly try to embarrass his mother in front of millions of people. So when he hit back, he didn't aim at 50's music, he didn't aim at his business deals, he went straight for the most sensitive place he could find, and that's why the reaction was so extreme. Why the original tension might have started over a battle that never happened. But what happened next had nothing to do with hit records, it had everything to do with respect. And to understand why that grave post hit so hard, you have to understand who Sabrina Jackson was, and what really happened to her, and what her death meant to 50 Cent. This isn't just the story of a celebrity's parent passing away from natural causes. Sabrina Jackson was killed when Curtis Jackson was just 8 years old, and that trauma has followed him his entire life. In multiple interviews over the years, 50 has talked about that moment, losing his mother and suddenly being forced to grow up fast.
My mother passed when I was like 8 years old. I went to live with my grandparents. And she had me when she was 15.
She had him when she was just a teenager, raised him in South Jamaica, Queens, in one of the roughest environments in New York at the time. No safety net, no soft landings. From what 50 has described, she was tough, strict, protective in the only way she knew how. He said before that she hustled to provide.
So at that point, she started hustling to be able to provide for me at that point.
That environment shaped everything about him. The mentality, the toughness, the survival instinct. He has openly said she was both his mother and his father. When she died, he didn't just lose a parent, he lost his foundation. And the way she died made it worse. According to 50's own retellings in interviews, someone allegedly drugged her and then turned on the gas in her apartment. The case was ruled a suspected homicide. No arrest, no closure. Decades later, it's still unresolved. And so when King Harris posted that headstone and told him to dig her up, it wasn't just disrespect. It reopened something that's been buried but never healed. 50 has admitted that every time life hits him hard, that same thought crosses his mind. That if his mother was still alive, things might have been different. He even has her name tattooed on his arm. Sabrina with a Ghetto Angel inked beside it. That's not branding, that's personal. And that's why so many people, even those who don't like 50, said the grave post crossed a line. In hip hop, you can say a lot of things. You can question someone's street credibility. You can challenge their success. You can even bring up old beefs. But a dead parent, especially one who was murdered, that hits at a different level. King may have felt justified defending his mother, and emotionally, that reaction makes sense. But strategically, it moved the conflict into territory that rarely ends quietly. Because once you touch something that's sacred, the response is almost never measured. And now the focus wasn't on Tiny anymore, It was on how 50 Cent was going to respond to someone publicly disrespecting his mother's grave.